Hi, everyone. Welcome. Glad to see all of you here today. Thank you. We're on page 42 if you haven't gotten there already. We'll take a moment to come to presence in this space. So feet flat on the floor, and if you want to close your eyes, wherever it's most comfortable to put your hands, whether that's in your lap or on your heart and your gut, or on the ground, feeling your seat beneath you. Lots of choices. And then come to presence. Earth, fire, water, and air, 4 elements that shaped our universe and that live inside of you. As you bring your awareness to your body, the location of your body in space, the position of your head and your back, your shoulders and arms, legs and feet, you feel your body sitting. You can feel your body breathing. 3 deep breaths. And then land on a natural breathing pattern as we think about these elements. As we begin with the earth element, the solid form, examine where and how you can feel into this solidity in your body. This might be your skeletal structure, the bones, the lattice of you, as well as the mass of your muscles and connective tissues, the sinew, the organs. Appreciate your weight, how you occupy space, your firmness, your groundedness, all of that which gravity is acting upon. This is your solid nature, solid like a mountain. Now we shift our awareness to the water element, tuning into this sense of liquidity and cohesion, where there is both stickiness as well as flow, sliding and shifting, a releasing and coming together. This might be felt as the moisture in your eyes, the saliva in your mouth, or the sweat on your body. There's a permeability to the water element, a borderland between surfaces where motion lives, the flow of fluid, the movement in your digestion, the pulsating of your blood, the thrumming in your chest. Next, bring your attention to the fire element in your body, the awareness of your temperature, heat gradients. Where is the warm and the cool in your body? There's motion as well in this element, a transference of energy between forms, felt at the skin, at the back of your throat, in the respiratory system, atoms that are in constant motion. Sense the ephemeral warmth of molecules bouncing off each other, the mitochondria of our cells powering our bodies, propelling us forward. And finally, to the air element, felt most prominently in the movement of the air, in your body breathing. Where do you feel that? Can you appreciate spaciousness in the parts of your body that accept air, allowing in the wind that carries oxygen in and carbon dioxide out? Find the breeziness of life in these empty zones, the nostrils, the mouth, the trachea. Here air flows, sometimes turbulent, sometimes still, although never completely still. So we have these 4 elements that help us to bring our attention to our body sitting, our body breathing, the sensation of gravity acting on us. As you settle in this way, you can bring your awareness to the sights around you with the understanding that all is made of earth. So we'll start with a couple of quick announcements, make sure we get them in. Tomorrow is the extra credit film. I sent out an announcement about it with this information, Thomas 222 at 7 o'clock, Connecting to Nature short films. So you'll gather there, you'll meet Paige, who's a learning coordinator. You'll sign in, make sure that your TA knows that you're coming, or make sure that afterward your TA knows that you are there. And then you watch these short films, and there'll be some discussion afterward. So that'll be starting at 7 tomorrow. Also, there is this. At the end of chapter 4 in your journal, there's an extra credit opportunity that is called Solve a Nature Mystery. It's on pages 45 and 46 of your journal. So you'll make an observation, which means you can take a photo or make a sketch of something interesting, something you don't understand that's happening around you. And then you will do some research. You might need to talk to some people. You might use the internet. You might go to the library. So figuring out what's going on, answering your question about what is the nature mystery. You'll hand that in to your TA anytime between this Friday and November 21st to get 1 point of extra credit. So that's available to you as an option. So that's what I have for you as far as announcements and goings on, extra goings on in BISCI. And so we'll get started today with this. So little words, you may have already picked up on the fact that I like words. I like learning about words and words, how they feel to us, what they mean to us. And so I want you to think about this phrase, not apart from Earth, a part of Earth. So those two phrases are very different. Apart from Earth versus a part of Earth. So what's your role? What's our purpose? How are we connected here on this planet? So take a moment in your journal and write down 5 ways that we are connected to Earth's cycles. And when you have your 5, talk to your neighbor about your lists. Compare and contrast your lists. You can ring. So did anybody have any aha moments? Something that your partner had on their list that you hadn't thought of? I would love to hear some of either aha moments or just things that were on your list or your neighbor's list. What are some of those cycles? Thanks, Leah.
I said we like celebrate birthdays.
The annual cycle of our life. Yeah, that's fun. That's one of my favorite celebrations.
I said seasons because I mean, like everybody has different reactions to every season.
That's true. Yep, very much so. We're connected to the seasons. There's someone back there.
I said through, I guess, when we sleep, because during the day we kind of follow the sun as our day goes on.
Yep.
At night we kind of follow the moon, if that makes sense. So our cycle of being awake and sleeping just kind of coexists with the moon and sun around us.
Yeah, right. Sunrise, sunset, sleep patterns, moonrise, moonset. That's great.
Another one is just like the basic biological needs like food and water and shelter, like all that is required like from materials that come from the earth. Even if we like kind of manipulate or manufacture different ways, like we all kind of rely on the earth systems to produce that type of thing.
Yeah, we don't even we always do, right? Yes, we are always connected to those natural cycles of food and what we need, shelter, water. That's great. I love this. So many ways we're connected. What else? All right. Cool. All of the ones that you listed are so important, right? We are so connected in all of those ways, and they are all different ways than what I'm going to talk about. So you can highlight or make a list of these cycles, all the ones that people mentioned here, that annual cycle, seasonal cycle. The food cycle is partly what I'll talk about today. And then that cycle of sleep. So all of these ways that our natural bodies are moving and connected to. So what we're going to talk about here is we're going to talk about breath, right? So you already get the idea that breath, I feel, is very important. So thinking about that breath, breathing in, maybe you've thought about this part. Breathing in, I receive my breath from plants. And breathing out, I give my breath to plants. It's this cycle of oxygen on our planet. In that Big Bang, that explosion, whatever you want to call that start of our universe, the start of our planet, it's all about oxygen. All the oxygen that was created in that period of time. And so we aren't getting any more and we aren't losing any. It's all just being cycled all the time. So in and out. So plants taking carbon dioxide, and that's all happening through these little stomata. This is a hemlock tree. It's our state tree, actually. And along these little lines on the bottom of the needles are these little holes. This is microscope. These are blown up, right? So different levels of electron microscopy. So you can see this is where the leaves are breathing. This is where they're inhaling the CO2 that they need for photosynthesis, and that's where they're exhaling the O2 that we need to survive. So this is a pretty cool. So we're always in this air exchange, right? So how much oxygen does a tree produce? They say that one mature tree makes enough oxygen for about 2 people, which I think is an interesting statistic. Of course, there's always some locked up in different places on the planet. Obviously in water and other things, in glaciers, there's all, O2 is locked up in other places as well. So 2 people, 1 mature tree. So there are benefits to getting fresh air, to being outside and breathing fresh air. It can help you de-stress and improve your physical well-being. So this goes into partly the seasons. Definitely in certain seasons, we're outside more than in other seasons. So being aware of this might help to encourage us to be out all times of the year, even when it's less friendly, so to speak, outside. The air is good for your digestive system, helps improve your blood pressure and your heart rate. Fresh air just makes us happier. The more fresh air we get, the more oxygen we'll breathe, which increases the amount of serotonin, which is that happy hormone in our bodies. And that way we are having different emotions when we're getting enough oxygen, fresh oxygen. Fresh air strengthens your immune system. Fresh air cleans your lungs, gives you more energy and a sharper mind. So going outside to take some of those deep breaths can be really powerful for your body. The plants that are creating that oxygen that we need through photosynthesis, photo means sun, so that's what's powering those plants. I'm sure that you remember that from 4th grade. But it's also, even though we cannot photosynthesize, we actually need the sunshine too, because sunshine makes vitamin D inside our bodies. And in order to have healthy bones and healthy teeth, we need the vitamin D to absorb the calcium that's in our food. So being outside, absorbing that sunlight is really important as well. It's estimated that 1 billion people are affected by vitamin D deficiency, not getting enough sunlight. So our ancestors, we are connected to this planet. You know, we've been connected. We have co-evolved over time to survive in all these ways, needing and being part of all of these cycles. Then the water cycle, somebody mentioned that, the water cycle. So as we've already talked about, we're 70% water. There's this constant cycling of water on our planet. Even mild dehydration can lead to short-term memory effects, like negative short-term memory effects. Alertness and concentration could impair performance on tasks such as visual motor tracking, perceptual discrimination, arithmetic ability, and psychomotor skills. So it's affecting all of our mind and the way our body is functioning. So making sure that we're hydrated. So there's, again, no more water or no less water on Earth than there was at the very beginning of Earth. So that idea that we are 70% water, that could have been dinosaur pee or plant condensation or cloud precipitate, you know, what we take in is all of those things in the past. And then we send it back out, right? What about our pee, right? This is part of the water cycle. Sending our pee back out into the world, part of the cycle. So when we think about pee, sometimes we think about it as being kind of gross, right? How many of you could pee outside if you needed to, if you wanted to? Okay, not very many. So that's interesting, right? Because that's kind of where we started as being outside. So why has it become sort of a stigma, right? The exhaustive description of the composition of human urine was prepared for NASA in 1971. Urine is an aqueous solution of greater than 95% water. The remaining constituents are, in order of decreasing concentration, urea, which is how we get rid of excess nitrogen, chloride, sodium, potassium, creatinine, which is a byproduct of proteins that we digest, and then other dissolved ions, inorganic and organic compounds. So 95% of pee is water. So think about your pee, you know, maybe just through the course of today, like what color was it? This is important. So when we do a urine test, obviously your doctor might be able to tell some things about your pee, right? How clear is it? A urinalysis, how yellow is it? Can tell them a lot about whether you're dehydrated, or not. And so it's really important to pay attention. If your pee is a really dark yellow color, then make sure you take in some more liquids, some more good liquids. But your doctor can use it to diagnose or keep an eye on a number of different health conditions: urinary tract infections, kidney disease, pregnancy, diabetes, vasculitis, dehydration, and dehydration can be deadly, So the liver, kidneys, lymph nodes, and spleen filter toxins that enter the body, and then the urine is a way that we eliminate those toxins from our systems. So I'm curious about what's coming up for you right now. So take a moment and talk to your neighbor about your pee. Go. Oh, why this is here. So then what other functions does water serve? What other waters do we have that we need to address, right? Okay, let's think about sweat. Sweat. Really, what are your associations with sweat? Just yell them out. Gross. What else? Exercise. It's hot, right? Yep. Anything else? Salty. Yeah. So sweat is really important for our bodies, right? Our associations, we have these associations with sweat, whether they are positive or negative or just they are our associations with sweat. It's really important for our bodies to function in this way. It's really important. The evaporation of sweat from the skin surface has a cooling effect due to evaporative cooling. So in hot weather, when our muscles warm up or due to exertion, then more sweat is produced. Perspiration is this production of fluids secreted by the sweat glands in our skin. So different functions, right? We don't think about what's happening underneath our skin very often. But we have these different kinds of sweat glands that help us to move water out, which then helps the air circulation to cool our bodies. If you think about it, birds don't sweat. They hold their wings out to cool. If they got all wet, if they sweat, then their feathers would get wet and it would be hard to fly. Dogs don't sweat, they pant. So, here are a couple of other options. If we weren't sweaters, then we would have to cool our bodies in other ways, which might also be gross or interesting. So there's been some debate about whether we can sweat out toxins in our body. I've read a variety of different research about that. And most of them say that no, that isn't possible. So some folks have heard that sitting in a sauna or going to hot yoga will help your body sweat out these dangerous toxins, but your sweat is 99% water. Trace amounts of metals and other chemicals might be present in your sweat, but your kidneys and your liver do most of the work when it comes to getting rid of toxins in your body. What you eat has a big effect of getting rid of toxins as well. Good nutrition helps your body to function well, and that helps to detoxify. So those systems need proper fuel to get their jobs done. So sweat, though, is vital to us. There are conditions where people who are born without the ability to sweat, and their lives are really rough because as far as cooling their bodies go, it can be a very dangerous condition. All right, water other waters in our body, right? We've got spit versus saliva. So what's the difference, right? Spit is essential. Saliva is essential for digestion. The digestive process starts in your mouth when you chew, and then it continues down through your body. So you'll notice like a lollipop dissolves in your mouth because it's starches, and the digestive enzymes in your mouth start that digestion process. That's what it means to eat like a hard candy. But you notice when you chew a piece of meat that you can chew and chew and chew, and it's not going away. That's because there are other digestive enzymes working farther down in your body that help you digest other things. But your mouth starts most digestive processes. It also moistens the food, so it helps to move more smoothly through your body. And it also helps to keep your healthy level of oral bacteria in your mouth. So all of this is going on, connections to water that we don't think about. 98% water, electrolytes, antibacterial compounds, enzymes, and mucus as the lubrication for swallowing. Some animals, not us, have nerve growth factor that when they lick their wounds, they heal more quickly. So pretty important stuff, this spit, saliva that we have. Another important water in our body. So we've got all that going on, all those connections. So how about your relationship with dirt? Talk to your neighbor about your relationship with dirt. Do you like it? Do you hang out with it? Would anyone like to talk about their relationship with dirt? Anyone want to tell a story? Oh, come on. Nobody has a story. There we go. Thank you.
Well, like the foods that we eat, like our fruits and vegetables, like they grow in dirt.
Yeah, that's a good relationship. Thank you. Yeah. Okay.
Over time, my relationship with dirt has changed because when I was young, I'd like play with bugs and stuff. But now I definitely don't do that. And I don't like being dirty and making like having a mess
Yeah.
or playing with bugs.
Do you know why? What's changed?
They
for-
scare me.
They scare you? The bugs scare you now? Yeah. Okay. So things shift sometimes. Yeah. Keep going back just a little bit, Leah. Thank you.
I know when I was at camp when I was younger, we used to have like a mudslide whenever it like rained the night before. So I don't know, we all kind of got really excited about that. But nowadays I feel like dirt is like it's just seen as a nuisance.
Oh, a nuisance. That's an important word. That's interesting. That's cool. Thank you.
I don't have a relationship with dirt. I don't like it. However, uh, this young gentleman here, I feel like I would prefer that over grime, like city grime. Like, I would rather fall in like a puddle of mud than like fall in like a puddle of dumpster water any day, because it just feels like I guess somehow cleaner, even though it's still dirty. I don't know.
Interesting. Different kinds of dirt, different kinds of grime. Yeah.
I feel like in general, like in my daily life, I really don't want dirt like under my fingernails. Like if I'm going to eat, I don't want to eat dirt. I don't want it like all over me. I feel like there's a layer. But then also, I love hiking. Um, and when I go on hiking trips, I am like covered in a layer of dirt all day. And it doesn't bother me too much. Like when I eat, I just like keep my sandwich bag over my sandwich.
Mhm.
But I feel like I have to be like in outside mode to like really like or like be fine with being covered in dirt.
Yeah. So circumstantially friendly with dirt.
Yeah.
Yes. Mhm. Thank you. Yeah. So that dirt is made up of all of these nutrients that have been cycling on this planet for a really long time. So things that have been alive and have now been decomposed are what makes up this nutrient cycle. So dirt is made up of that carbon and nitrogen and oxygen, all these things in the dirt. And it does grow all of the things that we eat. So we receive from Earth and we give back to Earth, right? We eat and we poop. Everyone poops. That's the way the nutrients move through this system, including all of the food production systems. So nutrient cycling. So my son Henry, one day we were at Holmes Foster Park, some of you might be familiar, has these giant oak trees, like huge giant oak trees, and then just grass around. And so we were there with some play friends of Henry's, and suddenly I looked around and I didn't see Henry right away. He was probably about 3. And so I immediately, of course, the mom mode kicked in and I saw him, he was like over that way. And I thought, oh gosh, I knew kind of immediately. So he was just over here under one of these big oaks just pooping, right? And of course, I didn't come prepared to pick up poop. Like I didn't have a bag. I wasn't walking my dog. So like I didn't think to bring a poop bag. So I walk over and he's just pooping there. And I was like, hey, how's it going? He's like, oh, good. I was like, good. That's great. Hey, that's really interesting. He's like, yeah, look at that. The flies. The flies are already coming for something to eat. And I was like, ah, right. And then I just kind of shuffled him away. I didn't really have any option of figuring out how to pick it up. I figured that it would be taken care of by those things that need it, and it would continue through the nutrient cycle. So, warning for future parenting skills, you might want to come prepared. But then also, Henry at age 3, understanding that his poop is part of this really important cycle on our planet. The food that we eat makes a difference. Our ancestors were hunter-gatherers and then eventually farmers. So there's real life in real food. What we're pooping out is those direct nutrients, right? The vegetables and fruits and meats. And when it's over processed, it becomes dead food. A lot of the nutrients have been taken out, and then it's just stuff, right? It's just kind of empty of the nutrients. So when we think about things like cereal, a lot of the nutrients have been taken out so that it can be preserved in that box and in that bag. But there isn't a lot of real nutrition in there. They actually add vitamins back in so that they're saying that it's healthy. Cheetos are manufactured by blending corn and water. And the nutrition part of the corn, the germ, it's high in oil content. It gets removed so that they don't spoil in the bag. And then the remaining part is ground into cornmeal, and then it gets enriched. So these things that we're eating, how is it that we're choosing the food that makes us feel really alive? So we are directly a part of this nutrient cycle. So whatever you choose, you're going to give it back, right? You're going to put it in, the idea of pooping outside. You can consider whether that's something that's an option for you. But when you don't, when you pee or poop in this building, the effluent gets washed away through a series of pipes until it reaches the Penn State owned and operated waste treatment plant known as the Water Reclamation Facility. It provides sanitary sewer treatment for most of the university and then part of town as well. It's designed to treat up to 3 million gallons per day and utilizes the following wastewater treatment processes: grit removal, screening, primary clarification, activated sludge with biological nutrient removal, secondary clarification, and then chlorine disinfection. So then, in Pennsylvania, the majority of wastewater, it goes through that process and then it gets sent back out into the stream to be part of the water cycle. Here, it gets sent and sprayed out into a land application system known as the Living Filter. And so the Living Filter is part of Penn State's longstanding commitment to sustainability. So it gets sprayed out onto the fields. Those nutrients then help the plants to grow, and it is more directly part of the system then. Some places have what they call a living filter that looks like this. This is at Oberlin College. You can see all of the, solar panels on the top, and then all of the windows here that are allowing light into this room where all of the wastewater from this building, just the poop and everything, gets directly sent to this facility where then the plants are using the nutrients and cleaning the water. There are snails, there are fish, and they're all benefiting through different stages of that process. So could you poop outside if you needed to? Talk to your partner. As of right now, it looks like we'll have time for that video. Okay, thank you. Thanks. Do you remember them from round 1 or round 2? I totally forgot my spit cup. I was like on that page and talking and I was like, oh no. Well, it should have been today. Yeah. Does anybody have anything they'd like to share after that partner talk? Leah, there's someone up here. Brent.
Not to go back to talking about hiking, but last fall I went on a trip to Utah, and it's actually illegal to poop in the wild there. You have to get like these foil bags because there's not enough water to decompose it. It's too dry. And also it's not like the soil out there isn't suitable for it or something like that. But when the group that I hiked with would go on hikes in Pennsylvania, we would like just bring a shovel and a trash bag and a roll of toilet paper. Nobody actually ever really did poop in the woods, but we had the supplies too, just in case we needed to.
You're always ready.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good, but not in Utah. That's good to know. And I bet that there are other states that have similar policies due to that. So thanks for sharing. So we have one more cycle, natural cycle that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about blood. So if anybody, if this is sort of a warning, this is coming up. If anybody is squeamish about this, just so you know. So the blood is made in the marrow of our bones. Blood is always dying. It's always renewing. Bone marrow produces 2 million red blood cells every second. Daily, the blood's 30 trillion red cells do a full circuit of the body, traveling about 12,000 miles inside of you. So blood, those special cells, help absorb nutrients across the intestinal lining into your bloodstream. So you're taking in these nutrients, that apple that you're going to eat. Those nutrients need to get into your bloodstream to nourish your body. And so those nutrients then are getting going through the intestinal system and getting absorbed into the red blood cells and sending that energy throughout the body. So your blood carries simple sugars, amino acids, glycerol, and some vitamins and salts to the liver. Your liver stores, processes, and delivers those nutrients via blood to the rest of your body when needed. So it does so much for us, right? It carries the water, the hormones, the heat, the nutrients, the oxygen to all of our cells, as well as carrying away all of the waste products for the body to get rid of. So poop is brown because a lot of it is dead red blood cells that have been processed and are getting sent out of your system. Blood clots when necessary. It fights infection and repels foreign invaders. All really powerful things. And then, of course, as you know, from a blood test, there's so much information to be gained and understood from the blood that's circulating in our bodies. In some cultures, blood is very sacred. In Africa, the Maasai warriors, they drink the blood of the oxen. The men go off to prepare themselves for battle, and they're drinking the blood in order to power themselves up, right? So in some cultures, blood is incredibly sacred. And then in other cultures, there's more separation. Today, we're going to address one of the cycles of blood, one that about half of our population thinks about monthly, a distinct cycle of menstruation. So, as you know, it's pretty taboo to talk about this. We don't talk about it, and many females feel ashamed as they experience it. And yet, it's really important because it affects all kinds of ways that our culture is moving through the world, right? So as recently as 2011, Always brand ran this ad showing a menstrual pad with a small red dot in the middle, a simple symbol of blood. Articles were written with text such as, "Pad ad takes the bold step of showing periods are actually red." So in my childhood, growing up, watching the commercials for feminine products on TV, and they pour this blue watery liquid in there to show how much the pad can hold. There was no actual understanding of what the cycle was or what was happening. So this was a breakthrough, 2011, pretty recently. Before that, the only reference to period blood was in this ad. So in other cultures, as much as we don't talk about it, in other cultures, it is even more taboo. Pardon me. For instance, in Jammu, which is a village in Western Nepal, when women are menstruating, this is where they have to stay. In these cultures, menstruation is not just taboo, it's dirty. This quote from the book 9 Pints, "A menstruating female is a powerful, polluting thing. When females have their periods, they must leave their home and stay in a shed like this. No heat, no cooling, no electricity, maybe infested with animals or insects. Females are isolated from a range of daily household chores, social events, and forbidden from touching other people and objects." This is called Shapauti. Shapauti is a tradition that banishes women and girls into these huts or into livestock sheds or huts to live and sleep. So Nepal's Supreme Court banned this practice in 2005, And yet the practice still continues because people have been, it's that one of those beliefs that's been happening for so long that this is what needs to happen. So few individuals or organizations are demanding that the laws banning it be followed. This is a deeply rooted tradition and centuries old harmful religio-cultural practice. So it's interesting the stories that we carry about the things that are very natural to us as humans, right? Females have been menstruating since the beginning of humans. It's an absolutely necessary function of life. We are a minority in the minority of species to bleed every month. The only other animals known to menstruate are apes, old world monkeys, the elephant shrew, and 4 varieties of bats. There are theories about why humans go through this process. The most compelling of the arguments is that the lining of the uterus, the endometrium, which gets prepared each month to be fertilized, and host the fertilized egg. The human endometrium is so thick and so nesty because our embryos, our babies, are so needy. They're invasive and parasitical to the mom's body. This is what all of us did to our moms, right? If we think back to those connections. The fetus has a direct line to the mother's main blood supply, which means that the baby can manufacture hormones and use them to manipulate the mother's blood sugar, dilate her arteries, and inflate her blood pressures to provide itself with more nutrients. The process of pregnancy is so taxing on the mother's body, but so is the process that females go through every month to prepare for that pregnancy, the possibility of carrying a baby. The endometrium swells with blood and is expelled during a period if there's no embryo, fertilized embryo, fetus attached. So with this expelling of blood, there might be pain and bloating and hormonal swings and low energy. And so consider this American story, our story that we live in, of we don't often talk about this in all our culture. What are the effects of not talking about it? And what if we did? So take a moment to talk to your neighbor about this. We're running out of time. Forget it. No video. Where did that time go? I thought I was so on it. Here is a product that's an option, reusable menstrual pads. They require a bit more energy, but the organic cotton is free of plastics and synthetic fibers and artificial fragrances, adhesives, all that are in the disposable ones. The average American menstruator uses up to 14,000 disposables in their lifetime. 20 billion pads and tampons end up in landfills each year. The average American menstruator spends about $5,000 on disposables in their lifetime. And so options, how are we going to treat ourselves? How are we going to treat this thing that happens to all females? The sacredness of menstruation, the flow of the menstrual blood carries power. The mooning woman has special energy and a great ability to heal and see deeply into things. In my village, people seek help from such a woman and they treat her with great respect. This, on the other hand, is the Dagara tribe in West Africa. They celebrate this sacred time. So all of this is for your thinking about your thinking, for your consideration about your connection. Maybe that extra credit, mystery is about you. How can you learn something new about yourself? This week's discussion post is, what is your notion or perception of natural? I hope that you have a beautiful day. I'll see you on Thursday. Thanks, you too.